last light of the day caught the mark you left on the glass. A faint handprint outlined in the gold of sunset. I pressed mine against it, palm to palm, through the cool pain, imagining the heat you once left there. The garden outside, blurred in the fading light, its shapes melting into shadows. I could barely tell where the flowers ended and the night began. The handprint stayed even after the sun slipped away, holding its shape in the dim glow of the lamp. I didn't wipe it away. Some marks aren't meant for cleaning. The last light of the day caught the mark you left on the glass. A faint handprint outlined in the gold of sunset. I pressed mine against it, palm to palm, through the cool pain, imagining the heat you once left there. The garden outside, blurred in the fading light, its shapes melting into shadows. I could barely tell where the flowers ended and the night began. The handprint stayed even after the sun slipped away, holding its shape in the dim glow of the lamp. I didn't wipe it away. Some marks aren't meant for cleaning. Some touch lingers longer than the day. Your chair still faces the window, angled just enough to catch the morning light. The cushion remembers your shape, the armrest your quiet patience. I thought about turning it, facing it toward the room, away from the world you once waited for. But something stops me every time. The glass holds the reflection of trees outside, swaying slow in a wind too soft to hear. They stand in for the conversations we stopped having, filling the chair with their gentle movement. I sit across from it sometimes, watching the way the light rests on the worn edges of the fabric, how the dust floats above it, like time refusing to settle. No one else sits there. It's not a rule I made, just something the room decided for itself. Some seats keep their loyalties. The cup sat at the edge of the table, its handle turned slightly toward where you used to sit. Morning light touched the rim, spilling pale gold into the shallow shadow beneath it. I had meant to clear it away hours ago, but the day never asked me to hurry. The steam had long disappeared, leaving only a faint ring on the table, a quiet reminder that something warm had been here. Outside, the wind moved the curtains in slow breaths. I matched mine to theirs, trying not to disturb the rhythm. A sound from the hallway, not loud, but enough to make me look up, faded before it could explain itself. I poured fresh coffee for myself, set it down beside yours, and for a moment they seemed to speak in the language of steam, curling toward each other, then away again. The room didn't ask for conversation, it only watched, patient as the cup beside me, both of us pretending not to count the minutes. By noon, the light had shifted, sliding across the table like it was trying to erase the ring it had revealed. It couldn't. Some marks are meant to wait. Patience leaves a shadow you can measure. The curtain hung halfway across the window, its edge brushing the glass like a fingertip on a sleeping shoulder. Outside, the night pressed its face to the pane, but the curtain didn't move to hide me. It had grown used to the streetlight's visits, to the moth tapping its small coat against the glass. I could have pulled it shut, but I didn't. Some barriers are softer when they stay incomplete. In the sliver between fabric and frame, I caught the moon leaning in, a pale coin spinning slowly in place. The curtain hung halfway across the window, its edge brushing the glass like a fingertip on a sleeping shoulder. Outside, the night pressed its face to the pane, but the curtain didn't move to hide me. It had grown used to the streetlight's visits, to the moth tapping its small coat against the glass. I could have pulled it shut, but I didn't. Some barriers are softer when they stay incomplete. In the sliver between fabric and frame, I caught the moon leaning in, a pale coin spinning slowly in place. Some gaps are meant to be left open. The lamp in the corner hummed as if it had been listening all along. Its light didn't reach far, but it knew exactly where to fall. Across the arm of your chair, onto the spine of a book you never finished. I traced the pattern the glow left on the floor, soft edges folding into shadow. Every line felt deliberate, like someone had drawn them while I wasn't looking. The hum deepened when I moved closer, a low note against the stillness, comforting and almost human. I thought about turning it off, but the dark felt too much like closing a door. I wasn't ready to touch. So I let the lamp stay awake for me, its small circle of light holding everything the room didn't want to lose. Even after I left the chair, the light stayed where it was, patient, like it expected me to return. Some lights remember who they're waiting for. I knew you'd leave. You wore it like a quiet goodbye, stitched into your coat the way your hands forgot to linger when passing me the sugar sugar said enough. You smiled, but it didn't reach the chair you used to pull out for me. I knew, and I still ask how your day was. You said fine, like it meant don't follow this thread. The evening folded itself small between takeout and a rerun. Neither of us watched. You looked at your phone, I looked at the window, both of us reading exits. I didn't ask and you didn't offer. You left your glass half full, but not by accident. Some part of me wanted to say it's okay, just so it wouldn't echo. When the door closed, but I said nothing, and it still did. Later, I poured out your glass like a ritual for something already gone. I didn't cry, but the light felt too loud, so I turned it off. I knew you'd leave, and you did, just slow enough to call it staying, and fast enough to miss the sound of it. The music stopped, but I didn't stand. The air still shimmered with the shape of the last note, curling in slow spirals toward the ceiling. I watched it fade, tracing its path as if following smoke. The chair under me felt heavier the longer I stayed, not with weight, with the knowledge that leaving would scatter the quiet I'd been keeping. I waited not for you, but for the stillness to explain itself. It didn't, and I stayed anyway. The music stopped, but I didn't stand. The air still shimmered with the shape of the last note, curling in slow spirals toward the ceiling. I watched it fade, tracing its path as if following smoke. The chair under me felt heavier the longer I stayed, not with weight, with the knowledge that leaving would scatter the quiet I'd been keeping. I waited not for you, but for the stillness to explain itself. It didn't, and I stayed anyway. Some endings wait for you to follow. If I had the nerve, I might have said that your silence felt warmer than most people's words, but I didn't, and maybe you knew. We sat on opposite ends of a very small couch, and the space between us was louder than music. I folded my hands to stop them from reaching. You looked at the window like it had something to tell you, but it didn't, and neither did I. My tea was untouched, yours was almost gone. I wondered if you drank it faster to leave or to forget. The light caught your sleeve just once, like it was trying to hold you in place. I looked down so you wouldn't see that I had hope pressed flat under my tongue. If I had the nerve, I might have asked why you stopped saying my name like it mattered. But I didn't, and the clock moved as if nothing inside us was still. You stood, I didn't. Your keys made a sound that was more final than goodbye. You closed the door with care, but not for me. And if I had the nerve, I would have followed, not to change your mind, just to watch you change the light. Afternoon light tilted across the floor, finding the narrow gap where the door stood slightly ajar. It poured itself into that space, spilling over the wood like warm water, slow, deliberate. The dust in the air caught fire in its glow, tiny sparks drifting toward the hall, as if the light had invited them. I watched from the chair, bare feet pressed into the cool boards, not wanting to move, in case the light decided to leave. Shadows shifted on the wall, soft as breath, stretching toward the gap, as though they were following someone. I thought of you standing there once, your hand on the doorframe, your voice low enough to almost be mistaken for the wind. The light stayed longer than I expected, but even it knew the day couldn't wait forever. Even sunlight learns when to step away. The lamps hum, fill the corners like warm water in a shallow bowl. I traced its sound in the air, my fingers finding nothing, yet knowing where it lived. Every so often the hum dipped low, then rose again, a tide too small to see, but large enough to feel. The rest of the room stayed still, as if listening with me. When I closed my eyes, I could almost believe the hum was your voice, holding the space between syllables. I didn't turn the lamp off. Some sounds are better without words. the hum was your voice, holding the space between syllables. I didn't turn the lamp off. Some sounds are better without words. The rain began without warning, drawing thin silver threads across the window. Thought about closing it, but the sound felt like it belonged here. Droplets raced each other to the sill, gathering in quiet pools that reflected the lamplight like a small city at night. I leaned closer, watching the glass blur the street outside, until nothing beyond the pain seemed real. You once told me rain was a kind of mirror, showing you the parts of yourself you forgot to see. I tried, but all I found was the faint outline of my own hand, palm against the cool glass, matching the place yours had once been. The air grew heavy with the smell of wet earth, slipping into the room as though it had a key. I let it. When the rain paused, the quiet it left behind felt like the inside of a breath, warm, fragile, not ready to be released. I stayed by the window until the glass held no more reflections, only the shape of a day that refused to move on. Some storms open doors without knocking. Shadows slid across the wall, thin as the breath between words. One bent at the shoulder, another tilted like your head when you listened. They move slowly, as if careful not to spill the room's quiet. The lamp didn't try to chase them, its circle stayed small, holding only the edge of my sleeve and the book I hadn't opened. I let the shadows pass, but one lingered in the corner, drawn out and pale, its outline almost your height. When it left, the wall looked bare in a way paint can't cover. Shadows slid across the wall, thin as the breath between words. One bent at the shoulder, another tilted like your head when you listened. They move slowly, as if careful not to spill the room's quiet. The lamp didn't try to chase them, its circle stayed small, holding only the edge of my sleeve and the book I hadn't opened. I let the shadows pass, but one lingered in the corner, drawn out and pale, its outline almost your height. When it left, the wall looked bare in a way paint can't cover. Some silhouettes know their way back. The air in the room had forgotten how to move. Curtains hung still, their folds heavy, as if holding secrets. I opened the window just a little, enough for a thread of breeze to enter. It touched my cheek once, then disappeared, like it had been sent for a message it couldn't deliver. The clock ticked louder in the stillness, each second a soft knock on a locked door. I stayed in my chair, letting the quiet wrap itself around me. was not empty. It was thick with things unsaid, with glances left hanging in the space between us. When I finally stood, the air shifted slightly, reluctant to remember its old rhythm. Stillness can be the heaviest thing. In the room, the coffee cooled before the clock had a chance to notice. Its steam drifted toward the ceiling, disappearing before it touched anything. I sat across from the empty chair, hands wrapped around my own cup, watching the surface still itself. Time moved differently that morning, slower in the corners, faster at the table. I thought about drinking from your cup, but the air between us was too thick with what hadn't been said. The clock ticked on, unconcerned, its hands sweeping past the moment as if it were nothing. To keep the coffee cooled before the clock had a chance to notice. Its steam drifted toward the ceiling, disappearing before it touched anything. I sat across from the empty chair, hands wrapped around my own cup, watching the surface still itself. Time moved differently that morning, slower in the corners, faster at the table. I thought about drinking from your cup, but the air between clock ticked on, unconcerned, its hands sweeping past the moment as if it were nothing to keep.
Some moments pass before you even taste them.
The question never left my mouth, but the room answered anyway, not in words, in the groan of the floor under my heel, in the faint sway of the curtain where no breeze lived. I sat in the chair near the window, hands resting in my lap like stones at the bottom of a pond. The lamp hummed a note so low I felt it in my ribs. Whatever I had wanted to ask lost its shape before I could find it again. The answer stayed folded into the folds of the curtain, waiting for a question I would never speak aloud. Not every answer needs a question. The door never closed that night, not all the way. It leaned in the frame, half open like a sentence without an ending. You stood there long enough for the air between us to notice. We didn't speak, we let the quiet carry what neither of us glass could hold. The street outside moves slower than usual. Cars whisper in the long wet pavement. Street lights bowing into puddles. When you finally stepped away, you didn't turn back. Your shadow left first, stretching thin until the night swallowed it. I stayed where I was, one hand resting on the frame, feeling the faint vibration from where you'd brushed it. Even after the cold began to creep in, I couldn't bring myself to close it. Some doors know that the slowest goodbye is the one that never finishes closing. Some farewells live in the space between open and shut. The street light stood still, its glow spilling over the empty sidewalk. It lit the bench across from my window, painting it gold as if expecting someone to arrive. The light never blinked, never shifted. It kept its post while the night moved around it. Even when the rain came, soft as breath on the back of my neck, the street light held its shape, its patience wider than the street itself. By dawn, the bench was just a bench again, but I could still feel the weight of its waiting. The street light stood still, its glow spilling over the empty sidewalk. It lit the bench across from my window, painting it gold as if expecting someone to arrive. The light never blinked, never shifted. It kept its post while the night moved around it. Even when the rain came, seemed soft as breath on the back of my neck. The streetlight held its shape, its patience wider than the street itself. By dawn, the bench was just a bench again, but I could still feel the weight of its waiting. Some light is loyal to the absence. The room had always been quiet, but that night it leaned closer. As if the walls had tilted in to catch the weight of my breathing. The lamp in the corner hummed low, its glow falling across the arm of the chair. You used to claim without asking, the fabric still knew the bend of your elbow. I didn't speak, afraid the air might scatter and forget how to hold what was left of you. The window let in a pale ribbon of streetlight, soft enough to keep the dust from noticing. It brushed the table, poised over the cup I'd left untouched, then slid away like someone too polite to stay. The floor creaked under my bare feet, not a complaint, just a memory waking up. I stepped lightly, each move an apology for making the silent shift. Outside, a car passed slowly, its tires carrying the sound of rain. From streets I hadn't walked in months, the room seemed to follow it, its listening stretching beyond the walls, trying to catch every drop. I sat where your shadow once rested, hands folded, eyes tracing the line where lamplight faded to dark. The air felt full, not of words, but of the way words sometimes linger, even after they've been swallowed. Nothing in the room asked for me to speak, and I didn't. I just let it listen to the clock's gentle breathing, to the faint tick of dust settling on the shelf, to the quiet truth that not every absence demands to be filled. Some nights the room knows more than you do. Some nights it teaches you that stillness can be the most loyal witness. Even the quiet learns the shape of what's missing. You didn't look back, but I still waved. The light changed, I didn't. Your coat moved through time, mine stayed folded in the shape of waiting. Maybe you didn't hear the silence I held, just loud enough not to speak. I never said, don't go, but I never said, okay. The coffee cooled beside me like something that forgot how to be warm. My scarf remembered our last hug. My sleeve still held the scent of not letting go. No one saw the world tilt when you turned the corner, but I did. I fed the cat, lit the lamp, watched the show I'd seen 100 times without seeing it once. When when nothing changes, it's easier to believe you didn't leave. I hum to the dishes like they were porcelain promises, too fragile for full notes. The tea grew cold before I remembered I mattered. And maybe if you had looked back, I would have smiled honestly. But you didn't. And I did. And now when someone says my name, I still check twice.